Donald Trump's reckless action cut off funding to law enforcement, farmers, school, childcare, veterans, and healthcare. While he was out golfing, he threw the country into crisis. This is not bold. It's not leadership. It's stupid, buffoonish child.
Big news. Kamala Harris has selected Minnesota Governor Tim Walz as her running mate, and the reactions are pouring in.
I think Tim Walz could be an excellent governing partner to Kamala Harris and a real asset here.
He does come across as someone who is really relatable.
Somebody that people just enjoy spending time with.
A Trump campaign fundraising text message that went out to supporters goes, quote, Tim Walz will unleash hell on earth.
Okay, look, mostly positive. One, unleash hell on earth, but mostly positive.
What happens when a bold comedian calls out a politician who thinks charm is a superpower? Welcome to the show, because things are about to get wild. Tim Walz's friendly, down-to-earth persona seems to have been borrowed wholesale by Michael Kosta, and the result? Let's just say it plays out like a comedy show that never made it past the pilot. This isn't just political commentary, it's a full-on public roast packed with cringeworthy remarks and questionable decisions. Buckle up, because what's coming next will be even more chaotic than a press conference gone wrong.
Make note of this. You are not getting off the hook at the next election if you vote no on this. You are not getting off the hook about us coming out there and making the case that 92% of people, and I don't even care in the most conservative of districts, it's well over 60% of people.
If you're having fun with this, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. You'll be amazed at how much support it brings. What started out feeling like one of those slow, can't look away car crashes quickly took an unexpected turn. Michael Kosta, a sharp-tongued comedian known for poking fun at pop culture, decided that Minnesota's Governor Tim Walz deserved a full-on comedic takedown. No one saw it coming.
Disagreement here, so let's find out about this Tim Walz, which, by the way, it's not Waltz, it's Walz, W-A-L-Z. You see, he's suffering from low T. Trump, you can have that one if you want. Now, obviously, You
have Walz as the vice presidential pick, Scott.
Look, Stuart, he's not a serious candidate.
All right. Not serious, huh? I agree. I hate having to listen to unserious people. You know, it really pulls my udders. Look, here's a rule of thumb. You're not allowed to talk about being serious if you have to milk your clothes before putting them on.
At one point, Kosta cracked a joke about famous people losing their cool. Then he turned his focus to Walz's political moves, treating them like scenes from a badly written sitcom that somehow got renewed for another season. For anyone unfamiliar, Tim Walz has built his image over the years as the friendly Midwestern dad who supposedly handles all the cooking himself.
You've probably never heard of this guy before. I Googled him in a panic on your behalf this morning. And what I found out is that Tim Walz got a lot done as governor. He legalized marijuana, passed family, it's a weed crowd. Yeah, he passed family and sick leave. He codified abortion.
He's the kind of guy who'd hold a coffee mug that says world's okayest governor while talking about leadership. And naturally, Michael Kosta couldn't resist tackling that kind of material. Once Kosta started unpacking it all, the talk quickly moved from politics to how Walz's public image feels less like a real person and more like one of those motivational posters that somehow ended up winning an election.
The southern border, holy shit, that's a mess, huh? I was just down on the southern border doing a piece for the Daily Show, and it's like the Republicans, it's crazy what they'll say out loud. They'll be like, add more barbed wire. I want kids getting stuck in there. They're invading us. That's the Republicans. And the Democrats, like, quietly, they're like, damn, I wish I could say that, you know?
Kosta first thought that Walz had mastered the strange skill of sounding confident without ever really saying anything. You know that look people get when they're presenting a PowerPoint they didn't make, just clicking through slides and hoping for the best? That's Walz at every press event. In his briefing notes, Kosta described Walz's energy as a mix of nervous excitement and polite panic, like someone who just realized their mic was still on. He joked that Walz's speeches often feel like political TED Talks with a spotty Wi-Fi connection. We'll figure it out eventually, Kosta said. Might be the most honest line in politics. But even halfway through the confusion, you can still sense some real enthusiasm. It's a messy kind of truth, the sort that slips out by accident and leaves everyone puzzled.
Democrats are all like, bring them in. Then they show up to New York and they'll be like, look, I'll be in the Hamptons. Let me know when this is kind of washed over. But then when Republicans, like when their son announces he's gay, the Democrats are like, we don't care. We love you, man. Be you. Do whatever you got to.
Kosta didn't stop there, because real comedians don't just joke, they observe. He started peeling back the layers of Walz' personality, showing how the governor often looks like he's searching for the right camera, trying to balance his official confidence with his small-town charm. Every photo of Walz seems to be snapped about 3 seconds after someone says, "Look confident," and right before he nervously asks, "Did I get it right?" But what made Kosta's take sting wasn't just the humor, it was how spot on it was. Instead of turning Walz into a cartoon villain, Kosta portrayed him as a walking PR experiment that could fall apart the moment an algorithm changed. Walz's entire image, it seems, is built on being relatable. Yet the closer you look, the more staged it feels, like a campaign written by an AI that binge-watched 1,000 Hallmark movies before deciding this guy should be governor.
If you ask me, his appeal to this ticket isn't just the record as governor, it's his overall vibe, you know? And that vibe, it's Midwestern dad as f.
Every year we as a family do something old and something new, but then we're gonna go get some food. Corn dog?
I'm vegetarian.
Turkey then? And
Turkey's meat.
Kosta then shifted to talking about Walz' public reactions during tough moments. You'd expect fire, passion, maybe even a flash of frustration, but instead Walz' trademark move is that calm, puzzled face he always wears. It's the kind of focused stare that silently says, "I'm thinking this through." You know, the same expression you make when a waiter lists 5 salad dressings and you're desperately trying to sound like you're making a healthy choice. That look has practically become Walz' political signature. People seem to mistake his slow, cautious pauses for deep thought, and somehow it works. Kosta pointed out how Walz' approval ratings drift around like a boat without a compass. The voters don't exactly adore him, but no one's entirely sure what he's done wrong either. It's like having that coworker who never really helps, but also never messes up. You can't fire them because technically they haven't broken anything. Politics, Kosta joked, is stuck in that same gray zone. Just competent enough to stay out of trouble, but too forgettable to stand out.
Vance wants to solve this. I agree with you. I think you want to solve this problem. I agree with a lot of what Senator Vance said. I actually agree with Tim Walz.
Wow. Maybe you two should run together. Yeah. Maybe a date? It seems like you have a lot in common. Hello, CBS, it's Tim. We're going to share an Uber home.
Walz policy rollouts, Kosta joked, are like new software updates. They look shiny, sound great, and somehow leave everyone wondering why things are suddenly running slower afterward. And every time the message is the same. We're just trying to make things better. Sure, that's the classic line every politician has used since forever. Walz just delivers it with better lighting. Then Kosta zeroed in on Walz' unique campaign style, which he described as a strange mix of confidence and confusion. He's the kind of guy who starts a speech like he's leading a revolution, only to end it looking like he's forgotten where he parked the car. The energy's there, the emotion's there, but halfway through, the whole thing just stalls.
It seems like Republicans are still trying to figure out how to attack Tim Walz.
No, I think they figured it out. Tim Walz is a communist sheep. A radical, left-wing Marxist socialist who is also a sheep.
Somewhere around the topic of policy change, Walz tends to lose track, and you can almost hear the background music fading out. "We'll get back to you on that" becomes his unofficial theme song. Kosta captured it perfectly. Walz doesn't stir up scandals, and that's exactly what makes him unintentionally funny. He's always stuck between cheerful confidence and mild panic, like a dad trying to fix a lawnmower with duct tape. Even when it's obvious he's scrambling for answers behind the scenes, he still manages to look calm and collected in front of the cameras. Then came Kosta's most surprising moment, when he admitted that somehow Walz might actually be a decent governor. Why? Maybe it's the flannel shirts. Maybe it's the way he grins and insists the casserole tastes amazing. His relatable guy act has been perfected almost to the point of parody. It's funny because Walz could trip on stage, give a thumbs up, and still get praised for being down to earth. It's less about politics and more about performance, and just with better stage lighting.
To see two candidates being civil with each other, even though they disagree, it was surprising and personally boring as shit. I mean, talk about something interesting like who's going to eat the cats. Nobody's going to turn any of these sound bites into a TikTok. That's not to say the whole thing was cordial. There was one moment where things got so heated the moderators had to take matters into their own hands.
But what really sent everyone spinning was Kosta's take on Walz's way of handling crises. You'd expect a governor to respond with strength and a solid plan, right? Instead, Walz reacts like a student just realizing the group project is due tomorrow, full of enthusiasm but completely lacking details. His unofficial motto might as well be, "We'll cross that bridge when we find it." And somehow it still works. Kosta didn't let the media off the hook either. He pointed out how reporters often treat Walz's every vague sentence as a sign of steady leadership, calling him a kind of political mood ring. But in truth, Kosta said, it's just polite confusion cleverly disguised as competence.
Walz have been just as personal. He's accused Walz of stolen valor. He's claimed he's a compulsive liar. And he even suggested that Walz doesn't actually love his wife.
Talk about weird with Tim Walz. I don't know if you guys saw the rally yesterday, but afterwards, his wife comes up to him, and Tim Walz does what any normal Midwestern guy would do, seeing his beautiful wife on stage after his speech. He gives her a firm handshake.
If Walz's leadership style had a script, the title would be Say Nothing, but Say It With Feeling, and he'd absolutely nail the role. As the bit went on, Kosta began connecting the dots, showing how Walz's whole persona revolves around the appearance of control. Every awkward pause, every nervous laugh, every fuzzy promise fits perfectly into the brand. Walz doesn't really sell progress, he sells predictability, the quiet comfort that nothing too wild will happen under his watch, which ironically might be the boldest move in modern politics. Then Kosta gave the joke a little twist. He compared Walz's leadership to a mix between a motivational speaker and a middle school principal, the kind who might start a cabinet meeting with a PowerPoint slide that reads, "Teamwork makes the dream work." It's harmless, it's friendly, and that's exactly why nothing ever truly changes. When optimism is your main strategy, how do you ever take big risks? Thanks to Kosta's sharp humor, the whole takedown felt less like a harsh political commentary and more like an oddly believable Netflix comedy special.
We have so much to get to, Senator.
The
we want to
CBP
have
app has not been on the books.
Since 1990. It's something that Kamala Harris created for.
Gentlemen, the audience can't hear you because your mics are cut.
Okay, now, that's within the rules, but it did seem like they kind of enjoyed it. No.
Kosta described Walz's administration as a cheerful group project led by the one person who constantly asks, "Wait, is this due today?" Instead of being marked by villains or scandals, the state somehow runs on a steady rhythm of polite confusion. At one point, Kosta compared Walz's reaction to public pressure to a cat trying to play chess. Technically, he's on the board, but no one really knows what the plan is. It looks intentional until you realize every move is pure improvisation. Still, as long as it looks confident, people assume it's working. That's Walz's real skill, staying vague while sounding sure of himself. He's the kind of leader who could walk into a crisis, nod thoughtfully, and leave before anyone asked for details. It's not deception, it's survival. And in a world where everyone's shouting over each other, Kosta admitted there's something oddly admirable about Walz's calm confusion. But the deeper Kosta looked, the funnier it got. He started applying Walz's political logic to everyday life. Imagine your GPS spending 4 straight years saying recalculating. That, Kosta said, is basically the roadmap of Walz's policy.
Personal between these two, both Vance and Walz are professionals, and that means engaging in the traditional pre-debate game of lowering expectations. It's a careful strategy where you hype up your opponent's debating skills while
Kosta joked that Walz's leadership is like serving the same casserole every night while promising a brand new recipe coming soon. If nothing else, he's consistent. The real issue, Kosta said, is that Walz's sense of safety is his biggest strength. He's the political version of plain oatmeal, gentle, harmless, and impossible to argue with. You won't throw it out, but you'll never crave it either. And that's exactly where Walz fits best. His leadership could be summed up as enthusiastically waving from the captain's deck without rocking the boat. He doesn't start fires, but he doesn't put them out either. Instead, he calmly points to the smoke and says, "We're monitoring the situation." Honestly, Kosta joked, that line could go straight on his campaign merchandise. In the end, Kosta wrapped up his clever breakdown by saying that Walz might just be the most Minnesota leader imaginable: steady, polite, slightly confused, and always ready with a reassuring nod. Walz's warm, "we're all in this together" tone makes it easy to forget that most of the time, nothing actually gets fixed, and somehow that's exactly what makes him stand out. Walz doesn't need to dazzle anyone. He just needs to keep moving forward. As Kosta dryly noted, the real secret weapon of any moderately successful politician isn't brilliance, it's endurance. Tim Walz found that rare sweet spot where being average somehow turns into being electable. It's both hilarious and a little unsettling. By the end of Kosta's routine, Walz had transformed into a full-blown comedic archetype, the accidental governor who managed to survive in politics not by chasing fame, but by mastering the art of blending into, like the quiet side character in a play who, without anyone noticing, ends up becoming the star once everyone else exits the stage.
Tim Walz may be a former football coach, a hunter, a guy who looks like he has his own homemade dry rub, but Republicans are saying, don't be fooled by the moderate vibes. Tim Walz is a secret communist. And nobody is more on board with this line of attack than Donald.
That's what made Kosta's takedown so entertaining. It wasn't mean-spirited, it was revealing. His humor didn't punch down, it held up a mirror. He showed that politics isn't just about grand ideas or bold leadership. Sometimes it's about perfecting the art of looking calm while standing in the middle of mild chaos, keeping the illusion of control long enough to be labeled steady. And no one does that better than Tim Walz. Kosta compared him to a nearly indestructible 1987 toaster. Not flashy, but still working flawlessly decades later. Walz doesn't burn anything, he just keeps things warm enough to be acceptable. His speeches, his calm nods, even his cautious smiles all add up to the same quiet message. Everything's fine. Please don't panic. When the laughter faded and Kosta's bit made its rounds online, something remarkable happened. People realized that he hadn't just roasted Walz, he had decoded the secret manual for surviving modern politics. The trick isn't dazzling speeches or sweeping reforms, it's endurance. It's the ability to stay calm, appear knowledgeable, and smile through the confusion. Walz has turned mediocrity into a superpower. He's not a disruptor or a dreamer. He's the steady background noise that feels oddly comforting when everything else is loud. Kosta's routine turned that into both a punchline and a lesson, that in a world obsessed with drama and attention, maybe the safest path is to stay quietly ordinary. Because while everyone else scrambles to go viral or make headlines, Tim Walz just keeps nodding, smiling, and somehow still holding the job.